Yeah, Sos, and welcome to Vasily's Garden, folks. Now, over the many years of me travelling around the States and having the privilege of visiting a lot of home gardens and visiting the families and enjoying the produce that comes out, and obviously sitting at the dinner table with the family to enjoy the fresh produce, be it all vegetables or fruit, I did encounter and experience many of them who had a problem with their garden, and I'm talking about a pest that's been around for a long time and has ventured down to Victoria as well in the recent times, and I'm talking about the garden fruit fly. It's been a devastating pest in the garden, especially in the northern parts, from Sydney working up to the northern parts, and very destructive. Now, controlling that has been a challenge for many of them, and a lot have tried making their own concoction of Coca-Cola, if you wish, Vegemite, sort of a protein and a sugar blend in bottles with holes in them, hanging them in the tree or around the tree, and some do to some extent work, but not as efficiently as they'd like to, because the pest itself still manages to penetrate through those homemade traps and attack their fruit and vegetables. And when it does get into them, it just rots it out completely. So here's a couple of points that I've learnt and experienced, because I have not had fruit fly in my garden, but I do know that it does exist in Victoria. I remember the DPI at least 15 years ago who invited me down to Kensington Community Garden, and that was the first sighting, if not the first, one of the early sightings in Victoria, which taken a stronghold and destroyed the plum trees. And I remember distinctly of having to harvest all the fruit off the tree, place them in the black plastic bag and solarize them, and basically leave it in the sun tied up so you can bake the fruit and the insect and the larvae inside there before you can dispose it, because you can't throw it out. That's one thing you can't do. You can't put it in your compost bin either. So the only thing you can do with infected fruit is to collect it all, bag it, tie it up and solarize it, and obviously contact your local council or authorities to let them know if you've had fruit fly or have seen fruit fly within your garden, so they can note it down if not already know about it. So Kensington was one of them, and also recently, a couple of years ago, we went to the Yarra Valley region and we explored the problems and the possibilities of fruit fly exploding in that area there, and it can be devastating to the growers, especially for the export industry, because once fruit fly takes a stronghold, it's really hard to eradicate. So it's important that we actually do take preventative measures as best we can. Yes, you can make your own traps at home. I haven't got one here because I haven't made one, but it's your typical bottle, and I'm sure you can research a lot of that on the web to see how to do that. And also, we have our traps. Now, there are other traps in the industry as well, and by all means, pick your favourite. I'll explain what our one does and how effective it is, because it is the only trap that's specifically designed to catch and lure and catch the egg-laying female fruit flies, as well as the male and female adult and juvenile fruit flies. So there's specific lures in there that are designed to do that. The trap itself, or the box itself, contains 2 traps which come with a specific design and colour to attract the fruit fly into it, and it comes with a sticky board as well. So the best part about this as well is that it's made from recycled plastic, and yes, it is recyclable, so you can pop it into your bin. Unfortunately, due to the government regulations, we are unable to sell you the sticky guards on their own in Victoria, or in any states, if I remember correctly. But the fact is that we can't sell them in Victoria as they are of their own, or the replacement lures, unless you buy the trap. It's not us offering that service or not offering that service, it's basically regulations. But at the end of the day, you've got a great trap here that's going to be able to help you control it, but you also do need to net it. Now, it is early in the season, and why I've started now is that I need to put it into your head, into your mind, that if you've been one to sight and have been affected by fruit fly in your garden, be prepared for it this time round. Don't let it take control, because once it gets into your garden, it's going to be hard to eradicate. And you're going to have to start with traps like this one here. Hang them up. They're available on our website. They're dirt cheap. We've reduced the price because we want you guys to be looking after your garden and preventing it as best you can as early as possible too. Now, the trap is not hung inside the tree. You shouldn't hang it inside the tree. Now, one trap, front and back, for example, like this here, I just dropped some the lures or the scents. When you put it together, you can hang it on the side of the tree from 1.5 to 2 meters in height. That's what we recommend, and it'll do a tree that's about 3 meters in diameter. So this tree here is approximately that. It should be pretty safe to put it on one side of the tree and predominantly on the side where the wind blows the most. So we get a northwesterly wind current through coming here, so we would put it on this side here to attract it and blow the fly into it. Or maybe on the south side. Either way, one side or the other side has got to be done. So I recommend the north side if it's blowing in that direction. If you've got a bigger tree than that, it's recommended that you hang 2 traps, one on either side of the tree. Now, in this vicinity that I've got 5 or 6 trees, and it is probably about 10 by 10, 100 square meters, I would need at least 3 or 4 traps, I think. Maybe you can get away with 2, but I would put 3 or 4 traps and position them strategically in each corner so that we've got the perimeter protected for the trees in the garden. And then next to that, you need to set up a frame. You need to protect your trees. Now, these need to go up when the fruit hasn't ripened, including vegetables, because it's not just apples and pears and quinces that they attack. They'll get into your tomatoes, cucumbers, they'll get into your citrus trees as well. And I do hope that you don't have it at the moment. And for those who do, my apologies for the bad experiences that you're experiencing. It's not my fault. I shouldn't be saying sorry, but my condolences to it. And I hope it can help you rectify it. And what I mean by rectifying it is using an insect netting. It is tedious to install, yes, I get it, and sometimes it's just more of a nuisance than it's worth, you think. But at the end of the day, if you've been growing a tree for X amount of years, or even a vegetable garden for years, you don't want to let your heart be broken by the fact of it being infected by the fruit. So the tree here, if you want to swing around, you'll see, we've talked about this before. This is my apple tree. This is a framework that you can use polypipe quite easily. Stick a couple of rods in the ground. You can use bamboo sticks or even garden stakes, and a polypipe like this or similar arched over the top and tie it up in the middle. This isn't framed up yet properly. I've only got it sitting here temporarily, but tie it up in the middle so that it doesn't wobble around, and then drape your insect netting over the top. Do not install the insect netting while the tree is about to bloom. You need the pollinators to come in. Like our plum tree here that's about to burst into flower, we need this to set fruit. We need the air to come through. We need pollinators to get in there as well and do their job. And all types of fruit, for example, apples and pears, they need a cross-pollinator. Yes, definitely, as do plums. And once the flowers have set, that's when you cover it. That's when you put the netting over the top, not bird netting. Bird netting has got a large aperture which will allow the little pest or the pesky pest to get in and make the damage and cause it for your fruit to start rotting. It's insect netting. Get that at your local garden centres. The fruit fly or Fruition fruit fly trap is available at leading garden centres across all states. It's also available online at vasilisgarden.com, and I can't stress enough how important it is that you prepare yourself to control it. Be it this one, be it another brand if you like. This one here, as I said, will attract and catch the egg-laying females that cause all the damage, but it's also got an attractant in there that will catch the adult and juvenile male and female fruit flies as well. So it's got a double front on it, and it does work. Basically, all you need to do is simply install it in your garden. If you're watching this episode as we've just uploaded it, folks, switch over to 3AW 693 AM dial. That's Talking Gardening Weekend with me and Darren James, and we are going to run our Get Ready for Spring sale. It's a big one. Now, we've had our $2 seeds going on for a while. We're going to extend it over through the weekend so you can take advantage of those discounted seeds and get them into your home, with postage included for $2. That is dirt cheap. You're not going to get that anywhere. Plus, everything else is up to 50% off online at vasilisgarden.com. Otherwise, give us a call at 3AW and let's talk gardening. From me, Vasili, Maresi.